What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Curtain, and that has nothing to do with the fact that my name is Oz. There's totally different purposes to that, but thank you for joining us this evening, and we will get the proceedings proceeding this evening. And I'm not going to waste too much time talking shit. Let's bring Jena on, and that way Jena can give us all the updates and announcements, and we can just get straight to this because we're starting late because of me. So.
No worries. Hi. Good to be on stream. And it's been a while. Well, technically, but anyways, yeah, let's run right through it. I know we have pretty good things coming out tomorrow, Tuesday, and thereafter. But first and foremost, if you haven't gotten your reservations, I should say, you haven't purchased your reservation for Better, our conference in June 25th through the 26th in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I can't do it like you. Thank you. I should have cued you to do it like that, but anyway. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Go ahead and purchase your reservations. Go ahead, mods, if you're there, to put in the exclamation Better so people can click the link and purchase their reservations. You do not want to miss this conference. It's going to be off the hizzy for shizzy.
Yay, yay.
Thank you. See, I just need the backup. That way it's still cool. But of course, as speakers, we have Seth Andrews. We have, I know you're actually a speaker, Oz, so you're one of those speakers. But we also have PavlD and Shannon Q, Cynthia McDonald, the GOAT. Many others as far as TikTok panel talks, Black atheist talks, all that. So you don't want to miss it. It's going to be exciting. But for tomorrow evening, and we'll roll out maybe a bit more information, Oz and I are going to bring back our show, Chopping It Up with Jena and Oz. And as most of you know, I've been away, more so working in the background. If you've seen some kind of updates to the chat or to the channel itself or whatever, thank you. Yours truly. But I've, gone through a loss in my family. My stepfather passed away roughly 2 weeks ago. So I've been kind of, in the shadows and kind of, taking that time to digest all of that and more of that kind of grieving process and all that. I won't say good stuff, but all that stuff I'm going to kind of discuss tomorrow night on our show, including a special little audio that I think it'd be very important for a lot of us to hear as, atheists that have gone through loss and were believers once before or vice versa. So tune into that. But more exciting news is for Tuesday at around, I'd say 10:30 Eastern time too. We're going to have another episode of the LGBTQ plus panel talk show with Uncle Beck, with Dr. Ben, Amy Newman, which she is our host, and of course Bryce Aroni is going to be there too, as well as maybe a couple of other guests. This is a bit of a unique talk show because it will just be not a call-in, but of course I'll run the banner later. I failed to kind of upload it, but you'll get that. Navigate to the home channel. You'll see the stream for it with the number in bold, where you can contact my direct phone number. Leave me a voicemail. You can leave us a voicemail of your questions, comments, anything you have for the panel, and we'll there discuss it live on Tuesday night. We certainly have other things, shows and plans and concepts and things like that coming out in the coming weeks. But other than that, that's pretty much it. But before we get into bringing on our guests, let's go ahead and view a little advice from our dear old friend, Andy Hall.
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me on the channel. And my first tip, if you're going to start a YouTube channel right now, is not burning yourself out. That may not be one of the suggestions you're going to hear from other content creators, but I have to tell you all, I've seen a lot of people burn out either writing blogs, doing YouTube channels, making other types of content. And what happens when you're first starting out is that you're really excited and you're gung-ho and you really want to create content. And you do it really fast and you create a lot of content, and you can burn yourself out because you realize how difficult it can be doing this, working in as a creator, as a creative, day after day after day. And if you focus too much on just punching out videos, for an example, then the quality may suffer, and you may not be able to look at your analytics, because analytics are really important to tell you what's working and what's not working. So my suggestion is don't burn out, and create a process to streamline a process in which you're going to be writing, you're going to be recording, you're going to be editing, and this is for YouTube, of course. And if you can do that, if you can fine-tune a process, that will help you not burn out. And that would be my first suggestion.
Welcome, everyone.
Hey,
That's decent advice.
very good advice, Mr. Hall.
Why, thank you very much. And thanks for having me on, too.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, firsthand, I know exactly how that feels, of the burnout in comedy. So thank you for that advice, Andy. But it's a little too late. I've already burnt the fuck out.
Yeah.
As always hijack the show. You remember the notes I was telling you about earlier on? I found them. So, this, look at this. Look how thick this is. Look how thick. This is half my notes from writing the shows. Oh, remember the card I made for Andy?
I love that card. That's a great card.
It's an awesome card from the heart. From the heart.
So welcome, everybody. So real quick, Jimmy, thanks for joining us. Phil, thank you for joining us, being here, hanging out as always.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Andy, thanks for hanging out with us, and
Sure.
Let's just dive right in. So you talked. So I'm a system and process guy.
Mhm.
That's part of my business background. So when I hear that, it tickles my ear. So what does that mean when you say there's a system or a process? What would that look like for a creator?
Well, I can just tell you what I do is that I know pretty much when I'm going to sit down and write my blog every day. I know when I'm going to prepare for my YouTube show Monday through Friday that I'm going to do now. And so I have specific times every day, which I sit down and I do the work. And that helps me not do I guess it's mission creep, right? Because it's easy to have all this content that you want to create and all these ideas that you have to just encompass all of your time, right? For it to engulf everything in your life. And that's just not realistic in the long term. You just can't perform as a people. People don't really do too well under those circumstances.
No, that's true. I agree with you. Do you have ever, I'm sure you do. Do you ever have issues with not being able to focus, even if you do have those designated times to work on your content?
Yeah. Well, funny story. And usually when I say something like funny story, something horrible is going to happen. So funny story. I had the entire day to myself. I drove my girlfriend off to the airport around 5:30 this morning. And I said, I'm going to get all this work done. I just need to have the ideas for, because I was going to start pumping out blog articles. And I got a bunch of other like basic stuff done, but I came up with two really good ideas, and good ideas in the fact that they might go viral. There's always an opportunity, a chance for that happening. But they came late. Like usually if you time yourself out well, and if you have a certain place where you do your work at a certain time, you can kind of sort of train yourself to get bursts of inspiration. I know that sounds crazy, but it's possible to do. So
without caffeine?
No. Caffeine's part of it too.
Oh, okay. It's gonna be one of the early steps.
Caffeine, Adderall,
make the coffee.
right? Same
See,
thing.
that's my shit. I need Adderall. I've tried caffeine. It's not working anymore for me.
Well, I mean, that's a good point that you raise, is that, you got to find what works for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Andy, with because obviously every creator or every author or every comedian or every songwriter, like everyone's going to have their own like flavor, so to speak, right? And their own seasoning they put something, but there's typically a dependable system or process, or let's say a template, that you can more times than not say that this will work, or this will work to your benefit anyway, and it not be a negative. Are there maybe 2 or 3 things that you do to be able to create and not cause that mental fatigue or burnout, or that fuck it, I'm done, because I think all of us have been there. Are there 2 or 3 things that you could say that creators should do or practice, in your opinion, that will help them?
I think you have to be able to monitor yourself, because like today, for an example, the ideas weren't coming, and so I just started doing something else. I just started doing some simple manual activities, like washing the dishes, for an example, going out for a walk. Greek philosophers, right? Some of the Greek philosophers would just teach and walk at the same time. There's something about moving around. It gives your chin, or doing something with your hands, something really simplistic, right? That kind of puts that part of your brain on active, so that you can synthesize the information that's whirling around back there. I make jokes about, I have elves working in the back of my head, like with ideas, and every once in a while they'll just come up with something really cool. And I can't tell you how many times I've had a good idea occur while I was washing the dishes or when I was just walking. I've talked to other people, and I was just talking to someone the other day, and they have ideas come to them in the shower.
I used to do something.
Why their hands are moving?
What's that, Oz?
While their hands are moving?
Well, I would imagine.
Anyway, go ahead, Phil.
Yes,
I used to do something back in my working days, my real job days. Like in the afternoon, would just get a little bit tired and a little bit of too many things to do at once, kind of thing. And sometimes I'd get stuck. And what I found to be the best thing to do was just take a break, and I would literally just walk around the block. It's a big block. I used to work at a hospital. Just a casual walk. Depends on where you are, obviously, the size, because you want to maybe give it 15 to 20 minutes, that kind of thing. And literally, I was surprised that without fail, I would come back, and it's not always the new stuff would come into my head in that situation, but it would focus me as to what's the next thing I need to do, for example. And it always helped. It always helped you. When you do a side thing, you want to be careful that it's not something too complicated that'll take your brain in another direction. Like, don't go watch a TV show or something that'll give you other input.
Exactly. And there have been scientific studies too, more than one, that have shown that if you actually take a break during your workday, you'll be more productive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And well, anybody's followed Tang for really since our inception, there especially spring and summer times, there's stream after stream that I'm outside. I'm streaming outside, because that is where I am peaceful. That is where I feel just right. It just, I decompress, and I'm stress free, and I'm all that, and I hear the world around me. I hear the birds, and as my daughter would say, I hear the gooses, I hear the dogs. I hear and I experience that. So there is something definitely to be said about getting yourself out of your, quote unquote office space, whether it's at home, at work, whatever, and detaching from that, and eliminating yourself from that part of it to have the clear, the clear line of thinking. But what I do want to so Jimmy, I won't, I'm not going to say it. I'll let you share what you want to share, what you're comfortable sharing. But for those that do or don't know, Jimmy and Skids had a show on our channel for a good bit of time. And Jimmy, contacted me and said, this is Oz, this is where I'm at. And I love you and I appreciate you enough to be honest with you. And this is where I'm at. And obviously we're still in not good standings, great standings. And I respect the hell out of Jimmy. And I love the hell out of Jimmy. But that's kind of where he had found himself. So Jimmy, being on that side of it and you kind of working through that, what would your input or your advice be?
Well, for me, I consider myself pretty creative. And so coming up with ideas was, I never had a problem with it, because let's be frank, these religious idiots out there are giving us tons of material, like tons. You just got to be tapped in. And there was just like, people joke about, you can't. Yes, there is this cancel culture, and you got to be careful, and that's a double-edged knife. And when you're dealing in comedy, it is kind of dangerous, because you can say something and something happens in the zeitgeist and boom, you're public enemy number one. Remember, the people that you thought you're on the same side with are consider you their enemy, and you're just trying to make people laugh. So it's tough, but I found as an easy way, folks, number one advice, punch up. No one needs to punch down anymore. Like, honestly, I'll be honest with you, I could throw in a great lisp. And sometimes when I get excited, I have a lisp, because it's just the way I expressed myself. And when I was younger, I would use gay people as a punchline. Not trying to make fun of them, but that's what it is. It's not proper anymore. I don't do it anymore, because it's not a punchline. I don't want to punch down. I don't want to victimize anyone. There's enough people that are making our lives hell, that are in power, that let's make fun of them. So first advice, always punch up. Like, there's too many people. And like, honestly, we're all in the same fucking boat together. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to get into this preaching nonsense, but it's like, we are all in the same boat. We're all working class people. We're all just trying to put food on the table. And these stupid tribalisms that are happening in our society, like, we got to get past this. And I think as atheists, we feel marginalized all the time. And so never forget, folks, it's always a class warfare at the end of the day. Yeah. So anyways, I don't mean I go around in circles, but being like, I just showed you, we did a show for about 8 months. This is literally half my stuff. Yeah. I don't like to talk about my family, because being an atheist creator, this is another thing. It's dangerous. There are people that are religious that really take that shit seriously. Every atheist creator, I don't want to speak for them, but I can almost guarantee they understand this. That's why you're doing it. That's like, it's so important. They're so important that people keep speaking out against this. There's got to be a voice, because the religious have the money. They have the power. They are working in your country, the United States, to God, if Trump gets in next time, you got a theocracy. It's not even a joke anymore. It's not even like, you don't have a democracy anymore. And that is scary, because you guys wanted to be the world leaders. You are. So you have to be our shining star. You have to be the example. And if your democracy fails, then we're all fucked.
I want to bounce off what Jimmy was just saying on 2 points. One, yeah, the apocalypse. It's difficult to look down into the pit day after day to create new content, because it can be kind of a downer, right? It can be kind of a downer. And then what is super frustrating is that, Jimmy, you had a whole bunch of papers, right? And maybe each one of those pieces of paper have really good ideas, but I'm just going to speak about my experience, and that as a creator, I will brainstorm ideas, and each one of them, I think at the time, are great ideas, fantastic, atom splitting kind of stuff. And then the next day I wake up and I look at it and I go, shit, and maybe one, sometimes none. So that's what I mean. Well, I got 2 good ideas today, but there were a lot of other crappy ideas that were just right off the list.
Well, that's the thing about comedy. Andy and I have talked about this. Okay, there's no other area of entertainment. Like, you take musicians, right? My God, you come up with 1 or 2 great songs, you could do a career out of that. Comedians are constantly coming up with new shit. You can't recycle the same joke over.
Well, you could if you were working, back in 1950 or 19.
Oh yeah, you can. And, yeah, and I understand a lot of,
but not today. No.
Not today. No. You gotta constantly print out new material.
It just the competition. TikTok alone, like people going out there doing a couple goofy things. Oh, look at me! I'm a social media influencer now. I'm a comedian.
And
right?
if I can, really quick, Jimmy and Andy, what you're saying right there is so on point to this first topic, as far as burnout, because I think that's where it's probably very, very easy for people to burn themselves out, because they think they always have to have the newest and the hottest take and the most relevant take and have the best shit to talk about. But I'll say this, and by all means, you guys and Jen and Phil jump in as well. There's nothing new under the sun, motherfuckers. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing that's not already been spoken about.
Yeah.
It's about your perspective and your experience, and how you can take your perspective and your experience and apply it to said situation, and hopefully help another person or another group of people. That's where it's different. But if you just concentrate on trying to be the newest and the baddest and the best, you will fuck your shit up.
Yeah.
That's where you fail. Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of us content creators. There's so many of us that relatively talk about the same shit or debate the same stuff, or, may or may not talk. It's always the same topic about, this and that and whatever. But the prime way of having it be more influential or reach more people is if it's from your perspective, and you have to just take that and run with it. You have to change it up in some way to where it, gears your content or whatever you're trying to convey to specific people. And it's not everyone's taste flavor of atheist content or whatever they absorb is different. More people are more geared or more favored to those, very epic debates, and more people are more geared to actually speaking about religion and how it breaks down people and the mental health aspect. Or there's so many but not really many Black atheists that talk about the same stuff that we talk about that's important to us, but we have unique perspectives in how we got to where we are.
Yeah, and I want to try to worry a little bit less about the duplication, because of the idea that every church will speak to maybe a couple hundred people, 1,000 people, whatever the number of congregation they have, just like every YouTuber will speak to a smaller audience. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're gonna avoid burnout, one thing you absolutely have to do is find something to work on, choose a subject and a style that is of interest to you. That you really don't mind doing, that you enjoy doing, and then you can go out and watch. There's dozens and hundreds of YouTube videos about how to pick good titles, how to pick good subjects for an episode, how to do analytics, how to set yourself up. Here's the top the first 10 mistakes every beginner makes and all those types of things you want to look at, but you still want to find your own niche. You know, generally speaking, as I've been watching a lot of people do stuff for a couple of years on YouTube, audiences will come along over time. It does take time. It does take time. But if you're doing something you enjoy, you don't mind going through that waiting period. And I'm talking probably a couple of years to really sort of, you know, get up to your first 1,000 or whatever.
I'm sorry. I know I'm the host. I'm supposed to shut the fuck up after I say something, but I do have to jump in there because I do I do understand the analytic part of what you're saying. But if you want to appeal to people and you want to do it quickly, and more so than quickly, you want to do it to where it's profound and it's meaningful and it's impactful. You don't have to worry about a niche. You don't have to worry about a subgroup. You don't have to worry about. All you have to worry about is just being you as fuck and being authentic as fuck and being real and being true to who the fuck you are. And that appeals to the masses because more and more people want to know more and more creators or entertainers or whatever that are that
People.
authentic person, that authentic version of themselves. And you can do that and you can demonstrate that. It will come much quicker. That, you know, if all you're looking for, I'm not saying this for you, Phil, but I'm saying for anyone listening, watching, if you're just looking for or eliciting subscribers, then yes, that will be a much longer process and trying to follow the algorithms and doing all that. If you want people to connect and continue to come back day after day, night after night, week after week, it's going to be that human, raw, emotional attachment that they have to the host or hosts, plural, to that channel and to that show.
Because two things. Because eventually, over time, you're going to run out of ideas. It may be the same analytics for like years. I know that's not, in reality, but who knows? It may be the same material that you convey over and over and over just because you're trying to convey that material or trying to be as studied on it as possible just to grab an audience. An audience and viewers are going to come and go. Core audiences, core people that stay with you day after day after day, that grows. It's a slower growth, but it's a more natural, authentic growth versus just trying to get views or clicks.
It's a paradox though, like how I felt as a content creator, because I felt like as a content creator just in a pool of people screaming for attention. And it got heavy to me because how I tried to go at the show was how I was able to let go of the concept of hell. And it's the kind of what the message I preached all along at the Church of Heretics was of letting go of ego. Like, who the fuck are we? That's what it all comes down to. And if anyone out there is struggling with the concept of hell, that's what you hold on to. This is the simplest, easiest thing. Because I don't know if I'll ever come back on camera, so please allow me this one last time, Oz. Who the fuck are we? We don't know shit. There's no accountability to ever understand how any of this fucking works. The theists, the religions that are the dangerous, that cause the most harm, are the ones that demand that you understand how this works and make a decision. At the end of the day, we can hold on to a foundation of ignorance because really, if you're honest with yourself, and that's what got me out of religion, was I was seeing all these people I felt that were smarter than me could not agree with each other. No one could fucking agree on any of this shit. Yeah. So at the end of the day, that's why atheism is the most reasonable position. So as a content creator, I try to, as in my humor, I felt that the more I didn't give a fuck about what people thought about me, the funnier I was, the more fun I had. And I think if anyone, do your thing, be who you are, hold on to it, and own your weaknesses, laugh at yourself, never be afraid, because honestly, this is a tough go, guys, and your ego gets kicked around a lot.
I will say,
You're-
and I think Oz would agree with me, having done stand up, is that if you are having fun at what you're doing, then the crowd will know that. That's the kind of authenticity there, and you'll get more people on your side overall if you can show them that you're having a good time performing.
Because that's what
Absolutely.
it's about, right? Keeping people entertained, and the people at home, whoever's watching this right now, are we keeping their attentions? Everyone's time is very valuable, so there's a lot of people out there screaming for people's attention.
I would also add on is that when you're first starting out, you shouldn't beat yourself up if you sound like somebody else, because if you look at any kind of art, whether you're a writer like Stephen King, when he first started out, he wrote like H.P. Lovecraft. There was a lot of his early short stories that were like, wow, this is H.P. Lovecraft right here. And so I think a lot, and when you look at comedians, you can say like Sam Morrill, for example. We were talking about Sam earlier. It's like, obviously, he's a big fan of Anthony Jeselnik. He has a very similar style, a very similar kind of presentation. And it's okay to work on your style. And if you start off original, in a certain voice, and then you work on that, because even though now Sam, he's a seasoned comedian, but you can tell he still has a similar style. And that's probably where he started off from. That's where he got his inspiration.
So to Jimmy and Andy and Jena and Phil, thank you for all this. So let's wrap this. Let's put this, well, as we say in the hood. Let's put this, break this down to a 2-piece and a biscuit. Let's break it down to a 2-piece and a
That's what
biscuit.
they say in the hood.
You wouldn't know, Jena. You wouldn't know.
I wouldn't. He's right.
You don't even know. You don't even know. But so we'll go around and we'll actually start bottom right hand side of the screen. So Phil, given everything we've talked about, if there's one piece of advice that we as a panel could give to any content creator, but especially someone that is just starting off, what bit of advice would you give them, or what tip would you give them to try to avoid burnout or just the mental or creative fatigue?
Gosh, a couple things come to mind. So let me grab one. I think just the one thing I would say is to start by watching those YouTube how-to videos, because unless you are in the sort of under the wing of somebody else who is you're learning from, there is a lot of I want to do something, I don't know how to do it, I'm by myself, and that type of thing always ends up, not always, most of the time, will end up making the same mistakes, doing things the long way, the hard way, the more time-consuming the way, the less efficient way. So if I was just starting out, I would get some of those concepts from how to start a podcast or a show or whatever, how to be a content creator. And what works for me, partly because of to remember stuff. You don't play a video and just remember it because you watched it. I like to watch the same subject like 4 times over from 4 different people. You get different perspectives, and when you do get duplication, that really helps it sink into your mind. So I'd go for that as a one tip.
Just the tip.
Just the tip. Every move starts with a. Never mind.
Ooh, Phil, getting feely. Jimmy, how about you? If there's one pointer or just a tip that you could give to a content creator, especially a new content creator, to avoid burnout or the mental or creative fatigue, what would you recommend?
Well, as someone who did get burnt out, I had to quit. I also have a family. I'm turning 46, folks. God, I have a lot going on. I have a lot of good reasons why I can't do this anymore. But I don't have any advice on burnout, but if people want advice for ideas for creating stuff, my suggestion is this. When I was religious, I would have experiences, and I had a lot of stuff that I couldn't explain. And that's what kind of kept me in Christianity. As I got out of it, I still had those same experiences, but tweaked differently for my new life. So there's something to how things work. Listen to your little voice that you have inside you. Take the time to spend time with it. If you want to come up with ideas, if you're in comedy, how I came up, like all my skits didn't just happen. It was like watching a TV show in my head. Take time with these ideas, let them scratch around in your head, go for a walk, like Andy said, do something that you can dissociate. Dissociating is a very powerful tool for creating. So go for a walk, do something, but let it sit and let it mingle, spend time with it. And and treat this like a job, because it's a lot of hours. People don't get the sheer amount of hours that's involved in this. So that's my advice.
Well, and before we move on to Andy, because I don't think it will be ultimately, but Jimmy did say this may be his last time on screen, and like I said, I doubt that, because him and I have a great relationship, and I think there's some different things we'll be able to do in the future. But Jimmy, I'm going to put you full screen right now, and look at me, look at me. I want everybody to know, Jimmy, I appreciate you, man, and you're a badass, and I want you to know that. And Jimmy has handled himself like a professional through each and every turn, and as funny as he is, and as silly as he is, and as great of a comedian he is, he's a way better human being. He's a way better person.
Okay, hold on a second.
And hold on, I'm not done. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. Do not Darth Dawkins me. Do not Darth Dawkins me.
All right.
You shut up. Jimmy has been extremely professional and respectful at every single fucking turn. And anytime there was anything that was questionable or anything, he's always come to me. And we didn't get to do this because I was working the night that Jimmy did their last episode for Faith Not Included. But since we're here now and I get to do it, Jimmy, I 100% respect the hell out of you, and you're an amazing human being, and I want to say that publicly because I didn't get to do it when you did your sign off. And you're a badass, dude. You're a fucking badass, and I appreciate you and everything you brought to our channel. And I don't think this is the last time that we'll see you on screen, even if it's for a long minute. It won't be the last time. But I appreciate you, and I love you, and I want you to know that.
Oh God, thanks, Oz. It's I want to say something too, because I'm not able to make the better event. I bought the most expensive tickets. I was going to go because I wanted to be part of it. Come June, you're going to see this man really fucking depressed around that time that I'm not there doing what I wanted to do. I had a lot of ideas, and Oz financially made sure I got my money back. Folks, in this day and age, he could have screwed me. And honestly, from the bottom of my heart, it meant a lot to me because I've had a lot of people in my life, well, fuck you for $20. Like, I had someone drop out of my life for fucking $20. What the fuck is $20? Right? It was several $100s. I just made sure I got back. And I'm in a position in my life that I need it right now. So I appreciate it. I wish I could have been there, and I love the fuck. I still respect the hell of what you guys are doing. And I think it's so goddamn important. And people at home, part of my problem is I see the big picture. My brain doesn't fucking stop. So I see the ramifications of everything that's going on. I see how important atheist voices are and how much they do affect people. Even stuff on Facebook. Thank you, Johnny. I love you, brother. Even on Facebook, I lost that fear of hell because of the ideas I saw on Facebook, because of the debates I had seen, because I had started watching YouTube videos and started hearing stuff that I'd never even thought of. Our world is saturated with this disease of theism. I know it brings great comfort to others, but my God, it's not fooling anyone of how fucking dangerous it is. I love you, Mike. So it is very important what you guys are doing, and I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate Tang.
Yeah, no, Jimmy, by all means, and I didn't get to do that before when you did your last like I said, your last episode, because I was at work. But you are a gangster and a gentleman in my book, and
thank you, sir. Well, you humble me.
I appreciate you. I do.
I just talked about not having ego. Thanks a lot. Thanks for tripping me up, Oz. God, I was happy thinking I'm a piece of shit.
That's what friends are for. That's what friends are for, Jimmy. Come on.
Look at that.
That's how you can tell.
And yeah, thank you. Seriously, thank you, Jimmy. And Andy, swinging it around to you. So for any current, but especially new or newer content creators, is there any advice or a tip or two that you would give to avoid that that burnout or that creative fatigue?
Besides already the advice you gave us in your
I understand. I think this is general advice, whether you've been creating content for 2 minutes or 2 years or 20 years even, is the fact that you got to be able to have honest conversations with people. People who will tell you if you've crossed the line, people who tell you that thing that you did, not as good as you think it was, Andy, not as good as you think it was, or that thing that you wrote that you got a lot of views and likes on, not your best work, and we both know it, right? So those people are difficult to have around, and usually you don't have those kind of conversations with them, but they are so important. I have been the person who tells the people the difficult things, and I've been the person on the receiving end of it. And like I said, difficult conversation to have, but you have to have them in your life. Dead silence. That's how you know you're entertaining people right there, everyone.
Right.
No, what you said. I was actually going to highlight part of what you said, and then that comment popped up, and I was like I feel like these are like 3 run-on sentences all at once. But no, to what you said, Andy, tell me if you disagree with this. I think it's more important to have critical listeners than just the bobbleheads.
Oh yeah.
And the yes people. It's more important to have those critics, because those are the ones that they're going to steer you towards the or steer you into the direction of content that's going to actually impact people where they're at in their day-to-day lives. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And there are going to be people who are always going to say yes to you, and there are always going to be people who are going to say no to you too. Not all opinions are created equal. You got to find people who have a good head on their shoulders and a good heart. And those are the people that you listen to.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and like blatant atheist, just that's right, Oz. I tell you that you suck because I love you. And I love you. I love you because you tell me that I suck. So yay. And then last but definitely not least, Jena, and you experienced some of this here in the last 6 months or so. What is maybe one or two tips or pointers that you would give a creator, especially a new creator, to avoid those things?
It's funny you say that, just giving it's so easy for me, I say in reflection of myself, to be positive for others. I always put others before myself, and that's my downfall. So for me to know what I actively do to not burn out and how I can decompress and find that space where I'm not going to go crazy or stop doing content or things like that, I don't know. So I'm not the best resource. I honestly see that in myself, and that's why I've actively am listening to all of you and others that have found their avenues of decompressing and not feeling the burnout, because I'm a very busy woman. I work full time, I go to school full time, and I do this and various other content. And it takes a lot for me to work on what I personally love to do. It took me a year to push out a pre-recorded show that I finally put my stamp on and put my creativeness to, that I thoroughly enjoy doing. But it's taken me, given current life family events, it's going to take me a bit longer to continue those things. But I can strive and push for others. I have a hard time striving and pushing for myself. And I'm a person that is, and I get this from my mother, I believe I am a go, go, go person. I always constantly keep myself busy. And if I'm not busy, I get lost. And if I get too busy and I start to get tired, I quite often get burnt out, quite often, on top of everything else I do in life. So at best, I know I am an encourager. I know I am a person that will listen to your thoughts and ideas and maybe give some creative criticism. I know that much. I don't know personally what I do for myself that I can actively give advice or knowledge of to give to someone else. Not yet. I'm discovering that. So I don't know yet.
Well, your story is your advice. That's what you just gave. Your story is your advice right there.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and when you care about others, you can get yourself into a situation where you're saying yes a lot to other people to help them, and that adds to your load.
Thank you, Phil.
So yeah, so you gotta stop yourself at some point when you do that. I mean, it's hard enough getting, it's easy enough to get burned out when you're just trying to do your own stuff, but when you're taking on a lot of other stuff on top of it, a lot of other people's stuff,
fuck that.
Help them, point them in the right direction, point them to somebody else who knows or something like that, and then let them go from there. If you can't take it on, don't take it on.
And that's true.
Or be okay to step back if you kind of have started to, and then realize that you've just, that you can't.
That's very true. And I don't want to make this about me, and we can move on. And I know I can actively say that me actively saying yes, of doing things, yes, I'll do that, yes, I'll do this, or whatever, creates my excuse of distracting myself from my own reality. And that's where I fall too. So don't do that. So yeah.
No, that's great. Hell yeah. And everybody's just joining the stream. Thank you. I just had a bunch of people join the chat. So thank you. We have Andy Hall and Jimmy, Lou hanging out with us, and as always, Jena and Phil. And my dumbass is still here for whatever reason. But what I'll say before we kind of pivot to the next topic, mine's probably a little more brass, if you wouldn't imagine.
I wasn't expecting that. I'm shocked.
When it come, fuck the bullshit. Fuck the bullshit. And I'm saying this, and I don't want anyone to take this personal. This is just me speaking from my experience and what helps me get through it. And that's what we're talking about is what are our individual tips or pointers. I don't give a shit what other creators say. I don't give a fuck what they mention or recommend. Be you. Be fucking you. Be you as fuck. Be the most authentic version of you as you can fucking humanly be. Be that. Be that. Do that. And if you do that and you are that, it will attract viewership and people and subscribers and all of that. Why? Because people want to know and people want to connect with those that are authentic and that are real and that they can follow.
Yeah.
They can follow the journey, the emotional journey, the psychological journey, the human experience, that they can follow that along the way. Do that. Be that. Because guess what? There is no burnout. There is no creative fatigue when you're just fucking being you. There's no fatigue there because you're just being you and you're demonstrating yourself for who the fuck you are. Now, if we get into talking about, doing like stand-up comedy or, even I write music and do that, that's a whole nother conversation. Yes, fatigue can come in 100% rear its ugly fucking head in there. But when it just comes to these everyday conversations, just be you as fuck. Just be you. That would be my my pointer. Now, hold on. We did have a super chat. Let me make sure my music.
We need music.
My machine got.
We need to move.
Oh, has he got special music because he gave money?
Super chats get a little music and a little dance if Secular Rarity is here.
Oh, that's very nice. We get a little
It is
something.
nice.
back.
And then we get a little treat.
Yay.
There it is.
It's not because of Secular Rarity. Whoever that guy is.
Nice.
Native Atheist. And can I say, is this 2 weeks in a row on Native Atheist?
Native Atheist is thebomb.com. They always
Yeah.
support, love, and give. So thank you.
I'm
Drinks
so
up
impressed
to
by
all the
that.
hearts.
Yes, definitely.
Bottoms up. Bottoms up. Yes, thank you.
And maybe they just got the money like that, Don't
Make
shame
it-
them.
That's a big exclamation point on what Oz was saying. That's what Native Atheist is doing.
Make it rain. So to pivot, we're at 53 minutes, so I don't want to go too much longer, but I do want to bring this up because I think it does play a part in the community, atheist community, and comedy as well. So I will start with the. Is everybody ready? Hold on, is everybody ready?
Oh yeah, Big Daddy, give it to us.
Oh yeah, Oz, come on.
I'm ready for the downbeat.
Oh, Big Daddy, give it. Oh, anti-theist.
Dun dun dun.
Anti-theist.
Surprised producer Wes doesn't have something like that queued up.
Wes isn't. When he was doing our show, he'd have all the bells and whistles. You're getting gypped right now.
God damn it! What are we paying you? Nothing.
I am getting gypped and he's fired. But so anti-theist. The reason I'm bringing that up is because it's so controversial in this community, and as soon as, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just be frank. I get accused all the time of being anti-theist without anybody even talking to me, asking me a goddamn question about how I actually view a thing or see a thing. But I get accused of that because of the way I report on the bullshit that Christians put on YouTube. Right now, am I anti-theist? Yes, I am officially anti-theist, but it's not because of the videos. It's because of other reasons. But no one in the atheist community has ever taken 1 second to ask me why I may or may not align with that, right? But then they jump to conclusions. Well, if you are this, then that must also mean you're this, and that. And Andy, I see you're already perking up. Go ahead.
But what? Okay, so if you're an anti-theist, in their minds, what are the this and the that and the that? I'm curious.
Well, I'm not open for conversations. That I just hate. I hate Christians. I hate theists. I hate conversations. I hate anything to do with theism.
Can I got a little something to say about this. So when you're an anti-theist, you don't hate Christians. You hate theism. You hate it. And I'm sorry. I say this all the goddamn time, but they go to church every goddamn week and talk about how we're going to hell. So what? Who gives a shit if we poke fun at them? They fucking deserve it. Who gives a shit if we call out it for being ridiculous beliefs? People are depending on us for ridiculing this because they've got the money, they've got the power, and it's socially acceptable. This is what pisses me off. You can't say a goddamn thing about religion and you're hateful. But they can go to fucking church every week and talk about how we're going to go to hell. It's bonkers. And this is what really pissed me off too. If you folks don't know, I'm Canadian. I legitimately tried to become an officiant in the Ontario Humanist Society. I spent over 2 years working towards that. I took a weekend course to get into it. And my final fucking interview was kibosh because those motherfuckers had things against atheists. I got so discriminated for them. I said I was an atheist and I got the fucking 3rd degree about how I have the audacity to say there's no gods. Oh my God. I couldn't even get out what a basic explanation of it was. It was ridiculous. Honest to God. So that's what we have. We have an uphill fucking battle.
We do.
So
we do.
Comedy is our only safe space.
I'm going to say some horrible things right now. And I've been thinking, you can usually tell when I start sifting in my brain about, and if you're in comedy, you have the initial idea and then there's the drop down menu. It's like, how can I make this sound palatable? And maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just say the words. And they might be a little, I'm trying to give myself as much road as you can tell. I'm trying to give myself as much road as possible. But, there are a lot of atheists who are part-time minorities. They're part-time minorities. They understand that they're a religious minority in this country, but they can pass. And the thing is that with anti-theists, we are much less likely to pass. We're much less likely to stay quiet. And that creates a certain amount of anxiety, I think, in the everyday apatheist, the everyday white bread atheist. That's what I think. And I'll stand by that statement too.
Yep. And I will say this, and I'm going to play a video. So I'm going to say this, and everybody just shh. Whether you are a theist or an atheist, and you have any contention on what Andy just shared, and I 100% agree with, or what Jimmy just shared, and I 100% agree with, I would suggest that it's the views that you hold are more problematic for you than they are for us. Go back to the drawing board.
Will Smith wasn't a pole.
So much to say. Comedy nerds out there and fans of Mark Maron, if you have listened to episode 1000, I have it queued up here on my iPad. It's episode 1278. The episode is named Canceled Comedy. Mark sits down and talks with a historian of comedy, a person who wrote a book on the history of comedy, and someone who worked with the Smothers Brothers back in the day, bringing it back old school. And it seems that comedians have had a tendency to always complain about not being able to tell jokes, and they have always had pressure on them to tell the quote unquote the right joke. So if you have a chance to take a look at episode 1278, you will learn things about the racist history of why the chicken crossed the road. Yes,
I can't wait to hear this.
That was a minstrel joke back in the day, and so there'd be two white men in blackface, and it was to illustrate the obvious back then, playing to the white crowd about how black people are not smart. That would be the butt of the joke, and these two men in blackface would say, one would go to the other, why did the chicken cross the road? And the other one would go, I don't know, boss, because it went to the other side, and that would be a hilarious laugh amongst racist white, participants in the audience. It is an incredible episode, and I recommend it to everybody.
This is your episode, for clarity.
Oh, this is not mine. This is Mark Maron, WTF.
Yeah. Got it.
It's episode 1278.
Oh my God, he's really gotten up there. 12. Can I just say something though about cancel culture? Because Bill Maher kind of irritates me a lot of times because he always loves to be that old man yelling at the kids. This woke culture. Everyone has been cancel culture-ish. Has anyone fucking forgot about the 80s and the satanic panic and all the when they started putting warning labels on records and
but you don't know he was going anti-cancel right there, right?
Anti-cancel.
He was not trying to cancel there. He was.
No, I know. But Bill Maher's he's just
Bill Maher, and Bill Maher by no means is my favorite person in the world.
Yeah.
But there is many things that he said there that are so relevant to the atheist hood. And that's why I wanted to play it.
This is true. Those are all very absolutely. And it's the more power I see the religious right getting, it seems to be harder and harder for atheist voices out there.
I won't even go outside of the bounds of the atheist hood. I would even go within our own communities, even though we have separate, smaller groups that hang out on different channels or have different flavors of where they like to get their atheist content. It could be those bigger heads that, have more dominance of what you should say or how you should be an atheist or how you should define atheism. It's even within our own circles that sometimes it can be even more frustrating.
Yeah. Oh my God. People want to get offended so badly sometimes. They just want to be offended.
Well, one thing that bothers me about these types of things, I mean, there is a line, obviously. Well, there isn't a line. There's a fuzzy area, but crossing that fuzzy area, there is going too far, and we know the people that deserve not to be platformed, if you will. It's not a big number. However, almost all the time, what really bothers me is that the underlying cause that we're all for, which is education of what is real, not perpetuating historical beliefs that are incorrect. We all have that in common. And when we get into these cancel culture arguments and who's right and who's doing it right and who's doing it wrong and who shouldn't be on this show or that show, we lose sight of that, at least at a group level, and that's a shame. It's like we've suddenly gone off to another zone where we have nothing in common, and that person, we jump to right away that's a horrible person who should never be spoken to again, kind of thing. Again, there's a line, but we go there so fast, way too fast.
And real quick, Jimmy has to dip out, so I want to make sure we give a proper send off and peace out and love and all that. Jimmy, you're the motherfucking man, dude. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what Andy says about you in private. I don't give a shit.
You should see the memes, Jimmy.
I know. I tell him, and then he uses them against me. That's what hurts the most.
Horrible
That's what
shit.
hurts the most.
Horrible.
It's all in love. It's all in love. Love memes. He puts out love memes.
I don't give a shit what he says about you in private. But Jimmy, I know you get a bounce, brother. I love you and I appreciate you. Anything you want to say in closing before you dip out?
Absolutely. I wanted to thank you, Oz, for having our show on, for allowing us the opportunity to kind of piggyback. We had a great time. God, I'm sincerely, I loved it. God, if I didn't have a job and family and this is all I could do, I would love it because it was a blast. But so from the Church of Heretics, this is the Reverend Brother Heathen telling everyone to stay moist. I love you guys. Keep fuckery in your hearts, folks.
See you down the road.
That's great. Love Jimmy.
Keep fuckery in your hearts. And I'm going to bring this up here because this hits part of what I was talking about. Cancel culture is a dog whistle by powerful people that have never been held responsible for their actions. I don't know why so many people have latched onto it and legalized it. To me, blatant atheist. To me, your comment is kind of two-sided because I don't know where you're going with that. It's like it is or it isn't. So I need a more clear, concise explanation. But I will say that there are those that just based on me taking a position of neutrality in other situations, I've had attempts of myself or Tang being canceled just based on a position of neutrality. So I don't know that your definition always applies. So that's we have to broaden that definition.
I think that when people talk about cancel culture, they talk about the left trying to cancel the right, or but in all reality, and that's a talking point. That's a talking point that's been propagated by Fox News. Now we all know that the right, the religious right, are the number one. They are the creators of cancel culture. Hell is canceling people, right? The whole concept of divine judgment is canceling. But the way that Fox News and the right have weaponized that term, it's now directed towards those of us on the left.
Yeah,
that's fair. I think if I can attempt, and I'm sure blatant atheist, you can correct me, or I'm sure you're providing a cleaned up statement to our follow up. But I think what blatant atheist is trying to state is that you know, there's so much of those that are opposing the bad talkers. I guess I'll use that kind of example. So many of us that are trying to oppose the bad talkers and trying to strip them away from social media or demonetize them in whichever way, shape, or form, when they aren't offered the chance to just go ahead and shame their own selves and have it naturally lose all of their platform and all that stuff without others trying to force it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's where he was going with it, but even still, Oz, and in your example, and I know it very well, that's just one side of the definition. There are other components, there are other components to it, and which don't necessarily have to be the case. It's just people being aggressively, no, you should downright be against this because it's just flat out wrong, period. But there's a lot of gray, or a person can just, like you said, take a neutral stance and say, well, I'm not sure. I'm not agreeing nor disagreeing. Let me just see more evidence and then I'll make my decision. There's nothing wrong with that. Common sense would say, even though common sense is not really common, would say there should be nothing wrong with that.
It doesn't happen enough. You're right. It
No, it
doesn't
doesn't.
happen enough. People jump to conclusions when there's just not enough information. And this is one of the basic criticisms we give of lots of other people, right? Is that we criticize people for jumping to conclusions, taking a side before there's enough information to take a side. You know, and when you have situations that when you've got conflicting stories that both sound credible, why would you take a side? Why would you take a side? I don't quite get that.
Well, and for the record, because I feel like now listening and reading, I actually agree that the whole cancel culture thing, it is a dog whistle. Like cancel culture is for those that oh boy, and this is gonna get me canceled. This is gonna fucking get me canceled. But cancel culture is for the weak-minded, because you don't know how to deal with opposition. You don't know how to communicate. You don't know how to have proper conversations with adults and reason and reckon with people your age and have the capacity to have those dialogues and those conversations with you. So you want to just mitigate it and say fuck it. So I would agree with that. That is a very, very toxic, a very, very cancerous part of the cancel culture, where it's, well, we don't agree with you, and not only do we not agree with you, but we can't have proper conversation with you, so fuck you.
Also to that, a lot of people want to go ahead and cherry pick certain phrases or references or what a person said in like the outside of the bigger context just to criticize you. Just to find some little tidbit, small example, just to be like, oh wait, hold on, no, fuck you, whatever they want to say, just to disagree. And I've said this to you before, it could be that those individual people already had it out for you to begin with.
Yeah.
And now they found just a little bit, just enough to say, fuck that guy.
That can happen. I find Oz personally very unlikable.
Thank you for being here.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Let's be 100. Let's be 100 right now. And Andy may 100% mean that, or may be 100% being satirical. But I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. It that doesn't piss me off. My feelings aren't hurt. I still like Andy. I still think Andy's a cool dude.
He's a very likable person. I can tell you that from firsthand experience.
I still think Andy's a cool motherfucker. So what? Again, that's where people like you. Y'all motherfuckers are missing it because you get in your feels. You get in your feels. You get in your feels, and that's where you fuck it up.
Yeah, it takes over. It takes over.
Because at the end of the day, and Andy and I, but both of us are we're good people. We're good people, and we love people, and we want the best for the people around us, and we want the best for humanity. And yes, if you were to just watch or listen to us, if it was like mano y mano, like doing some comedy shit, like satirical shit, talking shit to each other, you'd be like, these guys are fucking assholes. These guys are fucking assholes. That has nothing to do with who we are as humans, right? And how we actually approach our day-to-day lives, and how we treat humans, and how we treat individuals that that we meet, and that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. And that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of the problem now, and 2022 with social media and all that. Like it's all like convoluted, and it's all polluted, and it's all fucked up. It's all fucked up.
The ability to show restraint, it's so important. Like if I have a problem with someone, or if people have problems with me, it's far easier just to send a private message. Because I've been put on blast, I think that's the term, in public before. And it's like, that wasn't really necessary. He could have just emailed me. He could have just messaged me. That wasn't really necessary. And I have tried my best to message other people before criticizing them in public. I think that's just an adult thing to do.
But not a lot of people have that sense of courtesy, unfortunately. And I think to, furthermore, the point overall is that it's ugly and unfortunate and sad to see it within our own circles, because this is why not all of us, but some of us that had a previous religion, this is the shit we try to get away from, or this is the shit that was done to us when we came out, or we deconverted, or we were going through deconstruction. We don't want to see the same bullshit in a place that we thought was a safe space, that we thought was a soft spot to land on, that we thought was community, that we thought was family. And now that we see it within the same circles in this hood, now it's just like, well, fuck. It's another blind spot. You're blindsided. You're taken for granted, and you're taken on a ride from the same type of people, though atheists. Going along with that whole religious mentality of shunning. And, to further along Oz's point in a previous video some months ago, that's why he's labeled it as an atheist dogma. That aspect of that faith that shuns people for being different, simply just taking that, shunning people from being different. It's the same shit you see from atheists. Not all, some.
Well, and to drill down further, that's where Atheist Your Way. That's where that comes from. Because fuck you. I don't give a fuck what channel you come from, where line of belief you come from. Fuck you. Because atheism is simply it is simply this: we share the lack of a belief in a god or a deity. That's it. That's fucking it. That's fucking it. That's fucking it.
It doesn't grant you anything else. It doesn't grant you money or philosophy points or an actual community itself.
Yes. So in anything, fucking any goddamn thing in and after that is just a bonus. It's a plus, right? It's an addition. to be just in a community of skeptics or non-believers. But when it comes to the word atheism, it just means we lack a belief in a God or a deity. And if you want to try to attach me to something else or tie me to something else or pin me to something else, that way you can create a narrative to disparage me and talk shit about me. Fuck you. Fuck you. And I don't give a fuck what channel you come from, and I don't care what fucking platform you come from. Fuck you. That's all we share is a disbelief in a deity, and you got two of them that you can spin on.
Oz, I gotta say, you do curse a lot. That's not ladylike.
Oz, you should smile more. Oz.
You should definitely smile more. It's not ladylike right now. It's not
Maybe
fucking
not.
ladylike.
Maybe not.
Oh, sorry. Fuck, I cursed.
All right. Hey, I'm gonna have to run, everyone. I got a show in the morning, and then I have to go to work.
We should be wrapping up anyways.
But
Yeah,
hey, thanks for having me on. This has been a lot of fun.
Andy, it's your fault. You got me on a heated topic. It's your fault. It's your fault.
I hear you're not the only person who says those words to me, Oz. You're not the only person.
Hi, the girlfriend.
Right?
Hold on. Tell me, Andy, tell me more.
Oh, God.
Only in private. Only in private.
No,
Andy, final words.
no,
Where can
no.
we find you?
No, shh. Hold on. I removed everybody. Andy, it's just you and I. It's private.
You gotta make me blush, you know.
Still here.
No, I removed everybody. It's private.
But you can find me on Laughing in Disbelief, my YouTube channel. I'm also on Only Sky. You know, I do a blog,
Nice.
some righty stuff. Millions of people have actually read my material. I have the stats to prove it too.
Very nice.
Under my name, Andrew Hall. I had an old blog on Patheos under the same name, Laughing in Disbelief. I'm on Twitter at Laugh Purgatory. I am everywhere. There are links for me down in the description. So, check out my work, please. But thanks again for having me on. This has been a lot of fun, as always.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate you, man. Love you.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care, Andy. Nice seeing you.
Nice seeing you too.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. And what the fuck? Oh, god damn.
I didn't like that face.
Yeah,
I didn't like that girl in the middle.
Phil, you and I looked way too ugly.
Yeah, well, it's all the tech. It's all the robotics.
So, Gary Priestley, do you want to come on and chat? I mean, I see you in the chat. Do you want to come on and chat?
I see a little
people.
I see a little smile there.
Gary's good people. They're being funny.
Yeah.
Huh?
Gary's good people. They're being funny. It was an earlier comment you were making about how you want to be an atheist.
Then don't comment.
See, I gotta help him.
He had a
Move on.
smiley face. He wasn't meaning it. He was pretending to be like, wait. The way Phil is sitting back kind of scares me. He's sitting back like Putin was at that table. Okay. I can give you the chair explanation.
I was about to say that doesn't matter. I read it the way you read it.
So a lot of people want to chat. So let's go to Discord. Let's, close this out and have a happy ending. Oz?
Happy ending.
Babe, close out the show.
Let's so.
Close out the show.
Can I make a plug before we go?
Yeah.
Of course.
Go ahead.
I want to say that a couple different things. First off, there's a show this week that I'm interested in. It's going to be actually tomorrow's Crucible show at 7:30 Eastern, and it's going to be on the philosophy of science, which is interesting to me because late in life, meaning 3 years ago, I didn't even know about philosophy of science, and it's interesting to take something that many of us really understand pretty well, the scientific method, and put it under a microscope and talk about how it works and why it works, and you also, when you do philosophy, you also can find mistakes in the methodology, which then turn around to improve the methodology. So I'm really curious about this show. So it's with Dr. Tanner Edis and Dr. Kyle Johnson, Philosophy of Science, on the Crucible tomorrow with Sunny Shell. Please show up and give it a listen. It'd be thoughtful, worth your while.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Sure.
Y'all heard it. Go watch.
Show up tomorrow.
I will go ahead and follow up that plug with, of course, just as I spoke with tomorrow, later after that show on the Crucible, because we run late, 10 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have Chopping It Up, Jena and Oz. I'm going to talk about my bullshit grief with my bullshit religious family stuff. And because, my stepdad died. So, that was a thing.
With her bullshit boyfriend.
No, I was with my amazing boyfriend, Oz. So we're going to talk about that. And I have a special kind of little audio snippet that I'm going to run. Quiet down over there. And of course, tune in. I'm going to pop it up in the chat too. Just be sure to, it's okay. Call the number. It goes straight to voicemail. You'll hear my sexy voice and you can leave a question in the comments. So just go ahead and do it. Please give that number a call. We need, questions, comments, anything you want to talk about or address to the LGBTQ plus panel. Uncle Beck, I see you in the chat earlier. Maybe you're still here. I see you, bro. You're still there. Also, Dr. Ben will be there. Bree, I know you'll pop in the side chat. So love you. And of course, Bryce Roney and Amy Newman is our beautiful host. So please tune in for that.
Yeah. That's going to be a really interesting show tomorrow. I think a lot of people are going to relate to it in one way or another.
Oh, I'm going to get in my feels. Going to be some tears. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Going to lose my lashes.
Have a spare. Swap them
out. Me too. I don't know. Lose all of my lashes. And actually, Gary Priestley used to come around our channel all the time, but I think it's funny that all of a sudden it's like, I don't know Oz's channel. If it wasn't for Jena, so we'll have to chat. We'll have to chat because I think you're playing.
Okay, close the show.
Inside reference. No clue.
Close the show.
No, babe, you know me. I call shit out. I call shit out. That's what I do.
I like this. Looking in two different directions.
Hey, producer Wes, in the show.
To see is morally, ethically, spiritually, physically, positively, absolutely, undeniably, and reliably